We talked yesterday morning about what I've been hearing from some Republican allies of the president. Well, I then got to sit down and have a chat with James Blair, who was Trump's political director for the campaign in the RNC in 2024. He is now, of course, White House Deputy Chief of Staff. And kind of the big takeaways from him of what happened and how it's going to inform their strategy going into the midterms is number one, the ballot issue. They need to figure out how to translate what Trump was able to do in places like New Jersey to Republican candidates, which did not happen in this election. Number two, affordability. He hammered home that the Republican candidates in these races were not talking about affordability enough. He was very critical of Winsome Earl Sears running ads about transgender issues when that was not the top issue for voters in Virginia. And he followed that up by saying that President Trump is going to lean even harder and more heavily into messaging on the cost of living and on affordability going forward, and especially ramping up in the midterm year.
I mean, he says lean even harder. The complaint from Republicans is that Donald Trump has hardly been doing this at all.
That's
Donald
right.
Trump talks an awful lot to the media, and we've given him, much respect for that, more than any other president. He doesn't talk an awful lot about this issue.
The 2026 U.S. midterm elections are just around the corner, and the nation is already bracing for what could be one of the most consequential midterms in recent history. Every seat in the House of Representatives will be contested, along with a third of the Senate and dozens of governorships across the country. These elections will not only decide who controls Congress for the next 2 years, but they will also set the stage for the 2028 presidential race. Today, we'll explore what's at stake, which states to watch closely, and the theories, both mainstream and controversial, that are shaping the conversation.
Why a negative 100?
Well, women's rights, civil rights, free and fair elections gone.
Okay. Free and fair elections gone.
They will be. He will trash free and fair elections.
Really? You think that?
That's coming next
What
year.
proof do you have? Next year. I'll put it on my calendar.
On the way, ICE, National Guard in Chicago.
You're just listing. You're just
practicing.
listing off of things,
They're
but
practicing. They're in practice right now.
ISIS?
ISIS. And,
Who's in practice right now?
the ICE group
Okay. Practicing for what?
to interfere with elections and to try to interfere with free people voting and scare people.
Really?
Terror tactics. Which side are you on?
Oh, I support Donald Trump. I would give him a 9.
Oh my God.
Only. Oh, we don't have to walk away. We can have a conversation. That is the craziest conspiracy theory, which I thought we weren't allowed to have any of those, by the way. He said that ICE agents are practicing for the midterms next year so that they can rig the election and scare people away from voting. The only people who would be scared from voting with an ICE agent around are illegal immigrants who shouldn't be voting anyway.
To understand what might happen in 2026, we need to look at history. Midterm elections traditionally act as a referendum on the sitting president. Almost every midterm since World War II has resulted in the party of the president losing seats in Congress. In 2018, Democrats regained the House of Representatives as a reaction to the Trump administration. In 2022, Republicans were expected to make significant gains, but the results were more mixed, with Democrats holding the House and Republicans gaining some in the Senate. Some political analysts argue this pattern is predictable, a reflection of voter fatigue and the natural pendulum of American politics. Others, however, claim there is more going on behind the scenes. Conspiracy theories suggest that strategic redistricting, selective voter roll purges, and even hidden influence campaigns could be designed to protect the party in power, subtly shaping outcomes before voters even cast their ballots.
Congresses we've seen. And so we start from a reasonable place. And, there were still states that were gerrymandered. We were still in many, many fights, and that fight was going to continue. But the truth is, we were in a good place. We were in a reasonable place where both parties could compete for the U.S. House of Representatives, which is meant to be, the place in this country that the people's will is heard. It's not. We understand the Senate to be a slightly different dynamic. The presidency is elected once every 4 years individually. The House of Representatives is supposed to be responsive to the people, and for the past 2 election cycles, it had been until Donald Trump picked up the phone and called Greg Abbott and said, "I am in a bad way. And because of the policies I put forward and about a billion other reasons, I know I cannot win the midterm election cycles in 2026. So I need you to gerrymander as much as you possibly can in Texas. And that's what kicked off this fun season of our lives.
I mean, and that's exactly what we're seeing. And this isn't a new playbook for Trump, right? He can't win because his policies hurt the American people. It's driving up costs. He is the most brazenly corrupt president we've ever had in our lives, and people get it, right? And when he is in office and they are reminded about how awful his policies are for their lives, they vote against it. And so we saw his backlash to that with all the voter suppression push in his first administration. And then this time, his cheating method is, yes, let's vote, try to suppress the vote any way we can. But one way we're going to do that is through stealing as many seats as possible through mid-decade redistricting. And I think that's a thing that most people might not know either, is like mid-decade redistricting is not the norm. This is only because he knows he has no shot of winning.
So, what might we expect in 2026? Political analysts predict a mix of gains and losses for both parties. Economic conditions, presidential approval ratings, and local turnout will all play critical roles. Democrats may benefit from increased participation among younger voters and suburban populations, while Republicans could gain in rural districts and traditionally conservative areas. Conspiracy theorists speculate on more dramatic influences. Some suggest that AI-driven voter targeting, algorithmic shaping of public opinion, and even secret lobbying could sway results behind the scenes. While these claims are largely speculative, they highlight the growing mistrust and polarization in American politics.
I got a message for you. So come November, right, when the elections start rolling around here, no arrest, no votes. Okay, that's going to be the campaign that we're going to be running with. We are not going out to vote for another gosh damn Republican if Trump has not arrested any of the scumbags that have done this to our country. It doesn't matter if we left or right. We're in the same gosh damn boat. So Scott Presler put out this tweet. He says, if Republicans don't turn out and vote in big numbers in November, the people that celebrated Charlie Kirk's assassination will win. Okay, so I want to tell you, so I'm getting all of these DMs with people sending me this, just one of them, so just so you can see, they don't really care about Charlie. These people just care about him because he got young voters to go vote for the right. The message that you're presenting, Scott Presler, is it's like literally pissing and shitting all over Charlie's grave. Like, you might as well just walk up to his gravestone, whip your dick out, and just start pissing right on his grave. Because nobody but you guys, Jack Posobics, the Benny Johnsons, the Nick Soders, nobody believes that a leftist assassinated Charlie Kirk. Now, there were some scumbags out there that were celebrating it, yes. But I don't view that the scumbags celebrating it are any different than the scumbags that are not talking it, trying to carry weight and feed you this slop that the FBI is trying to give us. This is the most rigged trial. We can all see it. The judge is now, gag ordering anybody, any even journalist that may have knew Charlie. You can't report on it. You can't speak up. You can't talk about it. You're getting hit with a gag order. What kind of shit is that? This is the JFK assassination all again. So if you guys aren't going to arrest the scumbags, if you're not going to fight for the people, for Charlie Kirk and his honor, and fight to expose the bastards that did this to him, a foreign government, our intelligence agencies, our military, we don't know. But we know that Tyler Robinson wasn't some lone shooter on the roof and came up with this master plan and then escaped the authorities for 33 hours by himself. It's trash. So it's no political arrest, no votes. I'm telling all of my followers, if we don't see any political arrest, just stay home for the elections. It's not even worth it. What's the point? Our elections are rigged, they're a sham, and they're going to install anybody they want. And then once they install or we vote for somebody, our intelligence agency, the CIA and Mossad, just go compromise them. So literally your vote doesn't matter. Our politicians don't work for us. It's not like any of these assholes have voted to make our lives better. Not once. In the last year, since Trump's been in office, we've had 9 bills that are pro-Israel. We haven't had one gosh damn bill that's pro-American. So no arrest, no votes. That's it, period.
Election security is a hot topic heading into 2026. Factually, federal and state officials continue to strengthen cybersecurity protocols, monitor for foreign interference, and safeguard the integrity of both in-person and mail-in voting. Early and mail-in voting remain legal and widely used tools to increase accessibility. At the same time, conspiracy theories thrive online. Narratives about deep state interference, manipulated vote counting, or foreign influence are widely circulated. While these theories are largely unsubstantiated, they feed public suspicion and can influence voter behavior, highlighting the challenges of maintaining trust in the democratic process.
Oh, Virginians, It is the honor of my lifetime to be elected the 75th governor of the Commonwealth. We sent a message to every corner of the Commonwealth, a message to our neighbors and our fellow Americans across the country. You all chose leadership that will focus relentlessly on what matters most: lowering costs, keeping our communities safe, and strengthening our economy for every Virginian.
Control of the Senate and House will hinge on key vulnerable districts. Analysts suggest several scenarios: a divided Congress, narrow majorities, or unexpected landslides in certain regions. Predictive models, historical trends, and polling data are often cited, but conspiracy theorists argue that some models are manipulated to create a sense of inevitability, influencing both media coverage and voter perception.
They're trying to create seats based on race, and they can't do it, and we're going to hold them accountable just like any other state. I mean, they've very publicly said, Sean, what they're trying to do, and it's illegal gerrymandering. They cannot do it. So yeah, we sued them today. We're going to continue suing California until they start complying with the laws of our country, whether it's, what else, sanctuary cities, the Second Amendment. We're winning in the Supreme Court.
National Guard.
Our ICE, that's exactly right, that the National Guard and ICE can be in California to actually protect the citizens of California. Let's see, what else? Illegal emissions from trucks. And look what Sean Duffy did today. Look what he found with all the truckers who were given illegal licenses, truck driving licenses in California. It's constant.
The outcome of the midterms will determine the legislative agenda for the next 2 years, from budget negotiations to Supreme Court confirmations. It will also set the stage for the 2028 presidential primaries. Public trust in the election process and the legitimacy of results may affect civic engagement, protests, and the broader political climate.
Judge in the redistricting maps lawsuit says the one the legislature voted through does not meet the standards set by voters in Proposition 4.
Judge Diana Gibson also ruled that the 2026 midterms will use district boundaries from a map proposed by the plaintiffs instead. That map is known as Plaintiffs Map 1. It's there on your screen now. The League of Women Voters and others sued the state legislature over Map C, the one lawmakers approved last month, calling it unfair. So here's the basics of how it breaks down. The northern 2/3 of Salt Lake City will now be District 1. That one is likely to give Democrats the edge. The other 3 will lean Republican. District 2 will include Davis County and the rest of the northern counties of the Wasatch Front. District 3 will have the eastern parts of Utah County, including Republican stronghold Provo and most of the eastern and southern parts of the state. And District 4 will have the rest of Salt Lake County, the ever-expanding western half of Utah County, including Orem, and the western counties of Tooele, Juab, San Pete, Sevier, and Millard. Judge Gibson's ruling effectively strikes down the Map C boundaries the legislature passed last month, calling that map an extreme partisan outlier. She also wrote that the legislature cherry-picked the methods that they claim made their map fair, choosing ones that didn't follow what Proposition 4 requires. Democratic legislatures say they feel a sense of hope and relief in the judge's ruling, calling it a win for every Utahn.
As November 2026 approaches, the stakes could not be higher. Every state, every district, and every vote will matter. Whether you focus on verified facts or explore the deeper conspiracy narratives circulating online, staying informed and vigilant is critical. The battlegrounds are set, the tensions are high, and the nation watches closely. The next chapter in American politics is about to be written, and it begins at the ballot box. Natural swing of American politics. Others claim there is more happening behind the scenes. Strategic redistricting, voter roll purges, and influence campaigns designed to subtly favor one party over another. These theories, though largely unproven, continue to fuel debates about election integrity.